We're back for the second half of this Need for Speed event at TeamSport Sheffield. If you missed the first part, click the banner in the top right of your screen now. Need for Speed sees us take part in 4 15-minute races, each with a random starting order. During race 1, I made up 5 places from the start and finished in 5th place. I started right towards the back for the second race, and even ended up in last place at one point. After some bad racing and my worst overtake I've ever done, I finished that race in 13th place. So it's now time for the third race of the night, and I'm starting all the way up in 4th. It's a slower reaction and a slow pull away, but I'm able to hold on to that 4th place. The 3 karts ahead are fighting, so I begin to close back up to them. As the red flag appears, Charlie dives up my inside, and I stop back in front of him, having been waved through. After a long wait, we go to yellows and greens, but only for a moment.
Cannot see a light. Yellow.
Just as I realise that I can't see a light from where I've stopped, we return to yellow flags once again. My car is slow on the straights and I'm unable to do anything to get in front of car 22 through the corners just yet. Charlie comes through again, not leaving much space on the exit, as Anton looks to follow him through around the outside of Top Pit's bend. Anton's got the run up the ramp and holds it in front, almost falling out of the kart. There's a lot more aggression from behind through turn 1. This kart is really lacking in low-end pace. Kieran gets past kart 22 and I try to follow through at the hairpin, but I'm too slow up the ramp to make anything work. Now I'm forced to the outside and Tom finds his way in front as well. There's contact at turn 5. And Tom gets the run, so once again I try to follow through. This time I'm able to get to the left-hand side of the track and take the position. Tom gets given a penalty for something, we're not quite sure exactly what. Now with clear track ahead, lap 8 became my fastest of this race. But a 59.3 is not enough to be competitive. As I begin to get a little too relaxed, a wild Kalen appears up the inside, an easy pass for him in the end. And just look at the gap he's been able to pull in less than a lap. The final lap is introduced with another red flag. Despite the lack of a checkered flag, the race ends here. We complete almost an entire lap before the yellow flags actually come out. For the pace of the kart that I had this time, I'm not too unhappy with only losing 4 places. I had KARTS close behind for the vast majority of that one, but didn't end up having to defend overly hard. Race 4 then, starting mid-pack, but in a kart that felt pretty decent on the way out to the grid. It's another slow reaction, but it doesn't affect my position at all as I roll around the outside of turn 1. As Tom and I hit the brakes for turn 2, the kart behind doesn't and pushes us both into another driver ahead. We're now heading straight at top pits bend through wide. I begin to bail out of it, but I'm still being pushed from behind. That was painful for me, but worse for Tom, as the red flags come out to stop the race. As soon as I've seen that we were 3 wide, I've lifted off to allow room for Tom. As I've realised I'm not slowing, I've locked up the brakes, although I'm still unable to slow down at all. The tyre squeal that you can hear is me being pushed along. As I said, it was painful for me, but it was a lot worse for Tom. He hit the tyres hard, bounced back into another kart. He left the seat, allowing his insert to fall out from behind, before finally hitting Olivia's arm on the way around. I am, of course, very pleased to say that other than a little bit of bruising, Tom was completely fine. He did go to hospital to be checked out and after a couple of scans was given the all clear. Chris comes down to check we're all okay and let us know what's going to happen.
It's a red flag. I am. It's cutting.
He then wants to know when he can see the video.
Will I see it on YouTube in about 2 weeks? 3. Why 3? There's a lot coming out.
If he was a channel member, he could see it 24 hours earlier, just like you can, by clicking the join button down below. Having let us know that Tom's out of the kart and walking around, we were sent back to the grid to try again. Rather than our original starting order, we ended up in another new random order. So it's now 15th place for me. It's hard to see the lights from here, so a very slow reaction. And this time, we can't even get around turn 1. We aren't returned to original positions and we are not restarted, we are released straight under yellows. I'm up a few places already then, by luck, so let's see how much further I can go. We're on lap 2 as they've taken time off for the first attempted race. After a few attempts, I get ahead of a kart. I'm up into 9th place now. I need to be making more progress than this though. A whole group of us jump a place coming up the ramp. Dan is ahead in a decent car with Charlie behind who's struggling to find his way past. A red flag comes out, but I don't spot it. It doesn't appear like Dan, Charlie or Brandon spotted it either. It's a long stop as I believe a kart needed to be swapped out. We're in a big train now, all being shown the no bumping board. And we're on the final lap, and Charlie finally gets himself up the inside of Dan on the exit and takes the place at the hairpin. But it's across the line in 8th place in the end. I could have done with making far more progress than that. Overall, I ended the night in 8th place then, with 50 points scored across those 4 races. I may not have made it to the podium, but it was a fun night anyway. Whilst I do complain about them on video, I tend to enjoy the challenge of actually having an underpowered kart, as long as it's not too bad. Speaking of underpowered karts, next week it's Hot Pursuit, that 60-minute elimination race. You need a good kart for that one, and I don't get one. As always then, thank you so much for joining me on my go-karting adventures. If you've enjoyed this one, smash that thumbs up button, leave any feedback down below in those comments. Until next time, cheers.